Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and I have another chalk drawing to share with you today. This is for the letter S for our Islamic Waldorf inspired main lesson block on the letters. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is erase our previous chalk drawing. I am using chalkboards from Waldorf Supplies. They are 22 inches by 32 inches. They are small and portable and really fantastic for this series. Alright, I'm also using my Sargent Art chalk pastels. These have beautiful, vibrant colors. They work really well. Now I'm going to start off this drawing using my white chalk just to kind of outline it, and then I'll be able to add in some colors and other things later. But I kind of wanted to get the main focal point on the chalkboard first and then work on the other details. Now I've done this chalk drawing before, actually many in this series I have done before, since this is our fourth time going through this main lesson block in this manner. And I have to say that I wasn't as pleased with the way this one turned out compared to some of the chalk drawings I've done in the past for the same letter, but my children loved it, and that's what counts in the end, right? So it did serve its purpose, and my children did really like it. So I'm trying to make an audience here in the background because this is for the letter S, and this is for Prophet Musa alayhi salam's story when he strikes his staff onto the ground and it turns into a real snake, and then it eats up all the other fake snakes from the other magicians. This is at the time when he has returned to Egypt and has confronted the Pharaoh on his beliefs, and the Pharaoh is angry and decides that he is going to shame Prophet Musa alayhi salam by having his whole kingdom present at this amphitheater to witness his embarrassment with all of these amazing, skilled, professional magicians who are going to really show him up. And the magicians don't, of course. And actually the magicians end up following Musa and knowing that he is the real deal and that what he did was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which of course angered the Pharaoh to no end. And so all of these people in the background are all of the people who have come to see this. And it was so time consuming to draw all these people. And I wanted just to be like a massive like heads and just kind of make it in the distance and without a lot of detail. And it just didn't work out that way. And so I'm adding hair and arms and bodies, and it looks really messy. And from afar, it looks a little bit better. But in this case, I'm not sure if I should have just done white or gray for the whole crowd or made smaller heads, or I'm not quite sure. But of course, once everything's in place, it's not as noticeable. All the details that you might not like when you are doing a chalk drawing or just a drawing or a watercolor kind of just fade away once you get everything else in place. So now I'm going to try to just make some feet and robes and some staffs, because I'm not going to draw, of course, Prophet Musa alayhi salam, and in these little robes and feet, it's not Prophet Musa alayhi salam, it's just some of the other magicians. But I didn't really want to draw them because as much as I can, I'm trying to avoid drawing people and animals. Of course, there is the snake, when I could choose an image that was not an animal or a human. And so I'm just having them kind of off to the side so that they're not really present in the chalk drawing. And yes, there are a bunch of people in the background, but I feel like having just kind of a nondescript image in the background is not so problematic. It, of course, depends on your opinion about whether you feel it's okay to draw humans and animals. I feel like for the purpose of education, and because these are not true to life, that it is okay for me to be doing this for these purposes. Okay, so I am working on the magician on the right side, and I am very apologetic that I did not move my board so that you could see what was going on, but let me talk you through this process. I'm keeping this really simple. I did not spend a lot of effort trying to work on the details of the robe or the feet. I just kind of threw it together, and happily, it turned out pretty well. And so this is maybe another tip that you might use the next time that you are doing a chalk drawing or a watercolor, is that sometimes when you don't overwork it, it actually turns out pretty good. And so here I'm going to overwork the snake, and I probably should have just left it the way it was, but I kind of wanted to make it look like it was slithering upwards and trying to work with the way the shadows would work, and really that's not my skill set. And so I probably could have just left it the way it was and it would have been just fine, but I keep working on it and I end up taking a little bit more time to kind of work on the snake, and I probably could have skipped it. Now, most of these chalk drawings are taking between 15 and 30 minutes to do, depending on the level of detail and how many elements are in the chalk drawing. This one took nearly 30 minutes to do, and it's not so much for the things in the foreground, which I think are the main part of the chalk drawing and I think are even more interesting than the background. It was really the background that took the bulk of the time, drawing in all of those people. Now, with all of my chalk drawings, I do try to have some detail as well as the main focal point. It's just really exciting for the children to see that, so I do try to have that within our chalk drawing. I'm also using my black chalk in order to add some details, and I really like having that finishing touch. It really makes those elements pop when you add a little bit of black just to kind of outline it. And so I'm just going through the staffs and really trying to make them look like sticks, and that black really does help bring those details out. Then I'm going to do that again with the snake, and then we're going to be nearly done. I think I try to redo the head a little bit, and my daughter told me you probably could have just left out the eyes. So she's got opinions when she finally sees these. But they both, my children, really did like it. My 12-year-old and my 7-year-old really liked this one. They kind of came into the schoolroom and then they noticed it and they both were like, wow, that looks really great. They both really liked it a lot. All right, so here's a better look at the entire chalk drawing. You can see those magicians and those staffs in the foreground, and of course all of those people in the background, and that prominent snake in the letter S. All right, so if you'd like to see some of the other lessons in this Islamic Waldorf-inspired main lesson block, you can tap on the screen right now. If you want more information about this curriculum that I have created, you can find that on my website at pepperandpine.com. And of course, if you want to see how our homeschool is progressing on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at pepperandpine.